The motherfuckers that was in slavery didn't look like this. The ones that was holding the slaves looked like this. Go back. It was all covered up. So they say that the victor writes history. What version of history is the victor going to write? The one that serves him best. What version serves the victor in our case? To allow you the illusion that you won, while the victor pluck you dry with inflation eating away at your bottom dollar. So you think because your job say $30 an hour that you have a $30 an hour purchasing power, but you don't. Because every time the inflation go up, you lose power on that dollar. They stealing your wages by deception. This Black history, this is how we look at shit for what it the fuck is. We already got a structure in place. Soon as we stop fucking with these motherfucking non-Article 3 courts, Article 3 courts, these judiciaries or these tribes of Judah motherfucking Zionists who is pushing this system of Enlil and Levi or levy and liens called the Uniform Commercial Code, which is the code of thieves, reprint in modern format in order to continue to serve their interests. Wake up to the black. Understand what Black history is. It's the science of self. When you wake up, they can't keep this shit from you. It's in you. When you wake up, you already know everything because you part of the spirit of the earth spirit. When you awaken, you have full access to all things that is earth spirit. That means all knowledge on this planet will feed through you in order to help solve the problem. But it'll only feed according to the position you in to make sure you win against adverse forces. But you got to get out that ego state. The ego state is the divided method used to conquer you. It's the divisionary tactic. The all-wise, right, and exact gonna see it from every angle and gonna balance that shit out. The ignorant are gonna continue to chase their foolish desires of what they don't want to happen instead of following what is supposed to happen. Walking in line with the divine universe. Balance this shit with the black. Because it's already there. Just like we was already here. When you file your paperwork, you file your motherfucking allegiance to your own people. So that they can start sending motherfucking orders to shut down shop on every level. But as long as you ain't waking up to who the fuck you is, you don't know where the fuck you belong, then I can't help you. Because you can't help yourself. And we all know God only help those who help themselves. So Rod only gonna help those who help themselves. Because if your arm's too short to box with God, how the fuck you think they're long enough to box with Rod? I'm with this shit. This is a motherfucking miseducation to education program. When you wake up and realize who and what you are for what you are. You wake up and you realize that the woman, the matriarchal system is the true order, and the disorder is the patriarchal undermining of the systems of righteousness. That's all. It don't hurt. It's just the truth. You don't have to give it no feeling. This just is what it already is. It was designed that way. It was created that way. If you want to walk in harmony, you walk in the balance. Life ain't black and white. If it wasn't intended for you to fuck up, it wouldn't be no opportunities to fuck up. You have to fuck up to learn the lesson and gain the experience. That's how it works. You record it. It's all information. You got access to mine, I got access to yours. But only what you give me, because you only going to give me what I need. And I'm only going to take what I can use. There's no misuse in that program. So the balance is what you seek of the self. Because when you balance the self and you find the ego everywhere you find it, you slay that motherfucker. That's the internal dragon that subjugates you from within. The ego. But the ego not what you think. It's not your fault. People think everything's somebody's fault. You didn't give yourself the ego. The ego was used and created based on your ignorance of self. It exaggerated portions of your ignorance in order to make you lean on that. To create prejudice, hatred, resentments, All of the stuff that is the obstacle in your life is also the way to your redemption. How you overcome those obstacles and righteousness determine what you do. Sometimes you got to chop a motherfucker head off. That don't mean you ain't righteous. That mean that in righteousness you had to cut a motherfucker head off. Period. It ain't nothing personal. So you balance the scales. You balance the scales of ma'at. Where does ma'at come from? It's allowing to light to find balance in the darkness. Because it don't belong there, because it wasn't always there. But since it's there, it has to be in balance with nature. The netter. Look up netter in your Egyptian history. This is black history we talking about. From miseducation to education. The netter is what we call the forces of the gods. The netter, or the nine ether. The kingly ones. That nappy shit. That nappy dugout. You see? The tree of life. With the ever-flowing waters. The primordial waters. And so she climaxed. Atlas shrugged, motherfucker, because the uterus shook. All things back to order. Because mama said so. So the mitochondrial, in conjunction with the melanin, as the motherfucking arcs take place, you got the whole crucifix and resurrection in one place. In the place of the skull. Golgoth. Go back to your Bible. Where did they crucify him? In the place of the skull. How old was he? 33, up the vertebrae. In the place of the skull. How you get there? Sacred Sacrum calls up the vertebrae. 33, up to the motherfucking top. But he got to cross that motherfucking fear path. And the only way to break through the fear is to embrace the love, because the love is stronger than the fear. It's going to erupt. So, when you understand who you are, you're going to understand you was already here. You wasn't the motherfuckers in bondage. You was the motherfucker that fought to be oppressed. Because all you had to do was follow the Elijah Muhammad program and do for self, you wouldn't be in this position. You wouldn't have never been in this position. Right? All of the great inventions, they look like us. NASA, the black room, all the furniture in that motherfucking white. Why they call it the black room? That's the secret room. When all they white physicists can't figure it out, throw that shit to them niggas to get the right answer. That's the room they don't like to talk about. Now they gonna talk about the three sisters that what they call them sisters in that they was working at NASA. Anyway, that's a secret coded message in and of itself. That's flipping out a 2-bar cane on the motherline on black history. That's the knockaround game. It's a Masonic message from the word go. Go back and look at who Kevin Costner played. Then it's going to make sense. All of this shit is patterned and sequenced in order for your history to be told with somebody else playing the roles. Just like the Bible was stole right out of the motherfucking halls of Amenti. Straight off the motherfucking hieroglyphs in Kemet, the land of the black. So they call them Egyptians. They show black history. But what about your real black history? Where in the fuck is the Holy Land and where in the fuck is the Promised Land, and why are they in two different places? This is the Promised Land because this is the land that I was promised to appear in. What we call Sub-Saharan Africa, or Zululand, Swaziland. Zululand means the land of the people of heaven. That's the Holy Land. That's where the uterus of the earth is. Go look it up. The uterus of the earth is in South Africa. What they called in the Middle East the Absu. The Sub-Saharan Africa. Who went to war with the Moors, trying to conquer them using European battleships and European tin soldiers. Y'all keep falling for the same shit all over the planet. The same goddamn shit all over the planet. You take the motherfucking toy soldiers to be the generals, and you take the generals to be the toy soldiers. Are you that naive? And so, you know your history, you know yourself. They can't deceive you with their lies. All of this shit is real simple. You can't be deceived when you know that the study of the black, the alchem, the chemistry, the study of the blood, the DNA, which is the study of the chemistry, which is the understanding of the force that generates the power, which is the mitochondria, which is part of the biochemistry. All of this is the science of the black. This black history, this is the biological black history of all humans on earth. If you don't got mitochondria, then you're not going to live here. You're going to drop dead. You cannot survive on earth without mitochondria because you need your DNA to resonate with the earth frequency. None of these women to put us back on the proper resonance. They had us on shoe and men when we were supposed to be on shoe and tefnut. That's balanced motherfucking sequence. So they flipped the grid. Now y'all in double indemnity. Y'all motherfuckers in twice. Because now all of these artificial egos are about to get turned off because they cannot use the mitochondria when these women agree to shut the artificial drone frequency that shuts off the bots. That conjure shit is expired. That they use in a Babylonian magic. A superior magic has arisen from the spirit of the earth spirit. In this old knock-around game, we done knocked their ass out at their own shit. Thanks to motherfucking Prince Machiavelli, Don Illuminati, for setting up my mirrors. Allowed me to see the most motherfuckers. Because he set the most motherfuckers up to show me the most motherfuckers. But that was only on the surface level. On the back door side, in the underground, Malachi dominated it all. You see, because the righteous suffer for righteousness' sake. You know, somebody got to bite the bullet in order for a motherfucker to know what the fuck going on. Everybody done suffered. Some done did more suffering than others. And some done did more work than others. So we all arrive at different levels of the game at the same time in order to facilitate where the other one weak. So you use the good shit and the bad shit, the right shit and the wrong shit. You use their truth and their lies. And then you analyze all that shit and find out where all these pieces go and how do they set this motherfucking dimensional chessboard up. I whoop their ass from 9 to motherfucking 3. Can't fuck with me. Not intellectually. I'm the baddest motherfucker ever born with that. This your black history lesson. From miseducation to education. Carter G. Woodson episode. You know, this is the honor of the most honorable Marcus Garvey, who told y'all we had a plan. You think these motherfuckers was gonna get away with selling us out forever? We had a fucking plan. Stop falling for the illusions of mass media that's only used to pass messages among the elites, and 90% of them news stories is fabricated by Central Intelligence and motherfucking MK Ultra program operatives. If y'all don't understand what I'm talking about, then you need to know who the fuck you are and understand black history. The power is in you to awaken from the slumber, but the desire must match that power. And it'll take a life of its own to break free. This is the science of the black. So the mitochondrial is your love and light aspect that illuminates the sun. Your Y chromosome is your deformed X. Look at it under the microscope. Your Y chromosome is your deformed X. That means that the males are the mutants of the species. That means the woman was first. You fell for that Adam and Eve shit. That was a motherfucking code that wasn't to be taken literally. There is no fucking way you're going to take no rib and just form a human. Why he just didn't form her from the clay like he did Adam? He just said make somebody suffer? Oh, bitch ass serial killer God. Come on now. Let's wake up to this real black history. Know what the black is first. Understand how melanin work in the skin and the brain and the organs. When you understand the melanin, you understand in the black. When you understand in the black dot, you understand your consciousness. Once you understand your pituitary gland and your anterior gyrus and your motherfucking pituitary gland and how the holy tabernacle set up, then you can understand your ministries. Your ministries of righteousness. Y'all don't fall for the bullshit. So, for black history, we get into all of that shit. So, the Oscars. Oscar is black. So, why would black people be banned from the Oscars? Because it wasn't for them. You had to let the babies get their motherfucking turn to shine before you get your motherfucking shit back. The new entries on the motherfucking stage. You gotta let these motherfuckers develop into some motherfuckers that you can live with. They here. You can't unmake them here. They here. The only if they got that motherfucking true light, they gonna remain here. If they don't got that true light, they gonna drop dead like the rest of these motherfucking Autobots. These motherfucking androids. Organic motherfucking meat modems. Fallen artificial soul that they call espiritus. That they made with some conjure in the Middle East and Babylon. I can take you all the way back. They give you all that science. It's Babylonian money magic. It's the magic in the making of the Gulam. It's the forming the atom from the dust of the earth. It's the forming from the sounding black mud as Zakar in Islam. It's the same fucking conjure, and you keep repeating and reiterating that shit to keep yourself in bondage and servitude by the same motherfucking artificial meat matrix that they put together to hold you subjugated as a star trapped in a body. You can control this shit, but you got to wake up to who and what the fuck you are. When they say the gods walk the earth, if you're not doing no God shit, you ain't no God. Get that shit out your head now. You can only rise to your own level of greatness. If you don't have it within you to fight your ego to the point where you can show your God self and play by the rules of the true self and stop playing by the artificial ego, then stop saying you God because you weak. God is Gomer Oz Dabar, wisdom, strength, and beauty. All that shit rolled into one. I don't know. I kind of might fall off on that last one, on that beauty part. I ain't all that. But I can do shit. I can clean up real nice. So the whole thing about this shit is when you understand that you are the light of the true light. I did 2 posts about it earlier this morning while I was getting my information on what to tell y'all. Light of the true light. One with the true light. The light of the self. It's not external. The external directive is to suppress the internal objective. In other words, to follow the ego is to make the soul suffer. Follow the ego is to make the soul suffer. So when you make the soul suffer, you do the will of the ego, that's called hell. Making the soul suffer, following the ego, is called hell. That's why no matter how much money you make, when you do all that backdoor nefarious shit that don't sit right with the soul in you, you always end up fucked up some kind of way. Because that shit got to come out. It got to balance itself out. It ain't nothing personal. You know, motherfuckers got to jump off a bridge sometime. Some motherfuckers got to eat the motherfucking barrel of the 45. That's because they created that condition that fucked their mind up like that. You lose your mind, you lose your soul. You surrender your soul. You can't sell your soul for physical riches. It's not possible. Because nobody can't take your soul with them. But you can give up your power. You can sell them the power that your soul allow you to live off of. In other words, your contracts. Because the contract is the servitude. It's the objective of the oppression. To contract you to give up the wealth of your soul. but they can't keep it under the code of thieves. They can stockpile it and live off it until you reclaim it. That's their uniform commercial code telling them that sooner or later that those rightful owners or heirs to the throne have to be able to reclaim their riches and their wealth, and you can use it until they reclaim it. Well, motherfucker, wake your ass up so we can get our shit. And that's all, y'all. This Black History, this from motherfucking the echoes of the old dark land, overthrowing that pale fox. Know your history. You know, understand the motherfucking white-skinned black mass. If you don't know who the fuck you is, you in trouble than a motherfucker, because you about to get a rude awakening, because we about to get our shit, and your ass gonna be still suffering because